to Ria. This is our Championship Roundup pod. Slightly later than usual, owing to some technical issues we had with the previous recording of the podcast, shall we say, where one of the microphones, although it sounded fine on the night, didn't sound fine in editing, so we had to scrap the whole podcast and try this different format. We did do this format for the Scotland podcast, which went down really well, so we are trying it again. We'll be having 3 championship experts come on, give you their opinion on their teams and how they did, and a little bit of a look at the rest of the league as well. So first up is Kieran, our Partick Thistle expert. Over to Kieran.
Thanks, Stu. It's an absolute pleasure to be back on the pod after my appearance on the Scotland Nations League pod for the October fixtures. So it's an absolute pleasure. It's a privilege to be back on to discuss Partick Thistle's win over Airdrie on Saturday. The starting 11, we made 2 changes to the starting 11 off the back of the 1-1 draw with Falkirk last Saturday. Bannigan came in for Luke Macbeth. I think everyone was wanting Bannigan to start. Bannigan does what Bannigan always does, breaks up the play, calms everything down from the back, pushes Thistle forward, Um, and he came on against Falkirk, and that's what he did. He broke it. He broke the play down well, and at a time when we needed calm, because Falkirk were bombarding us up until he came on. Um, and so we needed someone to kind of steady the ship and break everyone down. And in my opinion, absolutely warranted a start against Airdrie on Saturday. As well as that, Logan Chalmers came in for Robbie Crawford. Logan Chalmers is a player that everybody was excited about when we signed him. He's a player that always has played well when he played for Airdrie. No, not Airdrie, sorry, Ayr United. He, in particular, a game a couple of seasons ago, I think it was 2 seasons ago now, he scored an absolute belter at Firhill in a game where we eventually did come out 3-2 winners against Ayr United. We did. He scored an absolute belter, and he's a player that's always looked good against us. So initially, when we signed him this season, albeit apart from Kyle Turner, who was probably the main star signing for Thistle this season, Logan Chalmers was one that it was a signing of intent, I felt, but he's pretty much disappointed. Not as much disappointed, but he's not lived up to the hype. Um, the initial hype that Thistle fans were believing in, especially for me as well. I've been quite critical of him so far this season, but by all accounts, I will go into his Thistle performance a bit later on. I thought he was absolutely fantastic on Saturday. Going by the highlights, obviously I wasn't at the game myself, I was working, but going by the highlights and everyone further were very impressed by him on Saturday, and we'll go into the game a bit more in depth. Yeah, the first half, I felt we controlled the game well. Um, we probably should have been 4 or 5 up if it wasn't for Airdrie getting the goal so late on in the first half. But Brian Graham put us 1-0 up early on through it was a cross by again a Logan Chalmers kind of deflected cross into the path of Brian Graham, and Logan Chalmers with a burst of pace. Um, Probably the fastest I've ever seen him move so far this season. Uh, Crosses it in for Brian Graham just at the back post, and he slots it in with a nicely timed volley. There was call for it for being offside, but I think it was just on. I think it was just on Brian Graham. It looked quite close, mind you. Um, but it was a well timed finish, and we had a few other chances as well. We had a corner that was headed over the bar, and before Airdrie scored, and Airdrie's Airdrie's equaliser was a well worked goal, albeit it was a mistake made from Harry Milne on the left hand side. Um, it was still a well worked goal, I felt. Through that, it was scored by Adam Frizzle, or Frizzle. Um, just I think it was like 4 or 5 minutes before half time, and that's when you don't want to lose a goal so close to half time. But yeah, we still kept going, still kept plugging away, and I felt it was one way traffic, to be honest. With the first half going by the highlights, um, but we probably should have had them out of sight after we scored the first goal so early on at the 4th minute. Probably should have had them out of sight before the equaliser. But second half started, and again we started off pretty well. Airdrie getting the red card, which is such a stupid challenge to make so high into his leg. Um, and he just half turned her down, which was just a stupid challenge to make. If that was a Thistle player making that challenge, I'd be annoyed. I'd be really annoyed at the Thistle player making that challenge. So yeah, but um, after we went 10 men down, I feel I kind of threw a plan into the air a bit because Airdrie obviously then start. It was probably a harder game when Airdrie went 10 men down because now they went compact. Um, but obviously we started hammering the shots and that, but our plan went to fuck basically, because they're going to obviously defend everything in their life, so they're going to make everything stuffy, and just basically put every person behind the ball. It kind of sent our plan into there a bit. Brian Graham gets a goal which was chopped off, which did kind of look just offside, to be honest. I'm not going to grumble with that. I think Brian knows that himself. Brian Graham could have had at least Brian Graham could have had a hat trick on Saturday. If it wasn't for that goal being offside, he had a few other chances. He could have had about 4 or 5. Um, on his day, Kanayo Megwa hit the bar. Um, Fitzpatrick had a chance. Just put it. I just missed it. But it was well worked for Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick's another player that's going to come under quite a bit of criticism this season. Um, but he's looking to come back onto his game, and it's players like that we need to step up, and we need to grab games by the scruff of the neck. You know what I mean? We need these players to come out and talk, basically. Standouts on Saturday, I felt Brian Graham. Obviously, you can't obviously not mention Brian Graham. Hopefully, that's him back to his goal scoring best now. That's him get three goals and two for us. Um, which is mental to say that Brian Graham's first league goal was last last week against Falkirk, considering how well he done last season. But that's the thing with Brian Graham as well. He always goes through purple patches. Then he'll go through dry spells. He'll go through a spell of 4 or 5 not scoring, and then he'll go through a mad goal scoring spell where he scores like 10, 12, and 4. Then he'll go back to a dry spell, and then it's mental. But as long as he puts the ball in the back of the net, he can have as many dry spells as he wants, just as long as he follows up by a good spell. um, but yeah, we've got to mention him. He could have had 3 or 4. He had a goal chopped off. He had a goal put his goal just past the post. And then obviously scored his 2. He could have had about 3 or 4 on Saturday if it wasn't for the goal being called offside, which in my opinion it probably was just off. Um, Going by the highlights. But yeah, as well as that, I felt Bannigan was fantastic when he came on. When he come back into starting 11, I felt as well. Dan O'Reilly was fantastic. I feel that Dan O'Reilly's gone under the radar a wee bit this season. Last season he didn't really start through injury, but he started towards the end of it. I feel this season he's been absolutely fantastic. Um, he wins absolutely everything, and he wins it with aggression. And it's a player that you need at the back. I feel he just wins absolutely everything in the air. Um, I think he's absolutely fantastic, Dan O'Reilly. Um, I feel as well Megwell looked pretty handy. Logan Chalmers as well. Obviously I said how good he was on Saturday, and I feel hopefully that's the start of his season now. He can properly start, because I've been critical of him, but I want him to do so well, because we know how well he can play. I've seen him when he's played against us for Ayr. He's been absolutely fantastic, and I feel that now he can kickstart his season. As well as that, there's good news. Stevie Wallace is back in training as well. He's starting to, well, he's been in training, but it's been light training. Now he's starting to run about. Hopefully he's back sooner rather than later. Um, I feel that we've been missing him massively. Um, so hopefully he can get back to his best last season. I would have probably said up until we get injured. From like probably from like August to October, November, he was easily our best player. Um, he was absolutely fantastic. Then he got that injury, and it's just absolutely killed him. He got injured in the start of April away at Dunfermline, and that's him been out ever since. So hopefully he should be back soon. Be good to see him. Be good to see him back. Um, Hopefully within the next few weeks. Here's hoping probably a month. Probably I'm not entirely sure. I think he should be back before the new year. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he comes back. Because I think he's been a real miss this season. Heading into Saturday, I think we should keep the same starting 11, albeit without any, if there's any knocks or whatnot. But I feel if all the players that started on Saturday are available, I think we should keep the same 11. I felt Robinson as well. There's another player there, Scott Robinson. I felt he was fantastic as well. He was a bit disappointing last week, I felt, but I think he was just coming back. That's him just came back for an injury as well. So here's hoping he can kick on. I felt it was fantastic on Saturday as well. But yeah, Saturday's a massive game. We're in fifth, Queen's Park in fourth, and there's 3 points between us. So um, hopefully we can close the gap on them, if not overtake them on Saturday. But we need to win on Saturday. Simple as that. We need to start. We can't be taking draws now. Once we've won, once we've won a game, we can't go and draw a game. We need to keep going with these wins, because we've took enough draws this season where all draws are fine and well, but for a team that's wanting to win the league, or that was said to be up there challenging for the league, and a team that's looking to get promoted this season, we can't just keep drawing games. We need to win. We need to start picking up a lot more wins than just one or two or three. Here and there. We need to go on a run. Hopefully Saturday will be good. It'll be a good game. It's at Hampden, so that'll be good. It's good to see Thistle at Hampden, because we don't get to see that much often. Um, but yeah, hopefully it should be good. I think Queen's Park will make it hard for us, as they do, and they're up there for a reason. They're up in fourth for a reason. You know what I mean? So hopefully it should be a good game. We beat them we beat them at Firhill at the start of the season 3-0, but that was probably them on their off day. So yeah, it should be a good game. Should be an even game. I'm looking forward to going to the game on Saturday. Finally, I don't have the day off, but I finish early, so um, get through to Hampton just in time for kickoff. So I'm looking forward to it. It normally is a good game between us and Queens Park. It normally is a good game with a lot of goals in it. So hopefully we take the bragging rights from the Glasgow Derby, the big Glasgow Derby. Now let's head over to Aiden, a resident Morton fan of the Salmon's Pizzeria pod, to discuss his team's 0-0 draw with Dunfermline.
Yeah, thanks, Kieran. We had the exciting task of facing Dunfermline, and for the neutral, you probably put that game as it was, 0-0 draw. Nothing much to report on. Game of two halves, probably. First half was all Morton. We kept the ball well. The way that we're trying to. In the second half, Dunfermline had a wee bit more freedom to come at us. It doesn't help when the pitch looks the way it does. It looks like a game of hammer throws taking place in the park. So I think we went there with the intention of just don't lose the game, because about 15-20 minutes to go we start running down the clock, or time wasting, and that doesn't always help when you've got such a long time to go, because if you're happy to revert back to just getting the ball up the park, regroup, get your shape back, the other team have got the ball a lot more. So Dunfermline had their chances in the second half. Most notable one came from a header about 6 yards out. I think it was Craig Whiting. Yeah, it was right at Gary Woods, but it was some save. It's down in the line. He's managed to get his knee down to the floor in time, and he's just banged it away. We're obviously without Ryan Mullen at the minute in goal. Picked up his injury against Raith Rovers. Beat them a few weeks ago. Gary stepped in to replace him. Young Sam Murdoch's out on loan at Port Glasgow Juniors. So we don't really have anyone else. Gary Woods is the goalkeeping coach. So for him to be called upon and stay switched on, it was the same a few weeks ago when we played Hamilton in the Cup. They'd done nothing the whole game. Then the 86th minute they get their first real shot on goal, and he's pulled off a brilliant save. Then at the weekend there against Dunfermline, nothing really to do, and then the last minutes he's got a big save to make and he pulls it off. So it shows you how good Gary Woods is as a professional as well, and he's kept us in the game. He's got us a valuable point away at a tough place. Dunfermline have been in a difficult position this season so far. I think from the second half display that they put up against us, will give their fans something to be excited about because they played some good stuff. Yes, we sat in, we allowed them the time and the ball, but it's confidence that they can get from being able to play the way they want to play. But they're very similar to us. They've struggles with goals. We don't score a lot of goals. Look at us defensively, we're fine. We keep a lot of clean sheets. We have done of late. We're keeping teams out. Defensively, we're fine. We've got no issues with the defensive line. Gary Woods, as I say, in goal, he's good. Ryan Mullen, in my opinion, he's one of the best goalkeepers in the division. And Dunfermline, with the limited chances they had, they played some good stuff in the second half. But as I say, there was nothing really to report on. We had maybe 1 or 2 chances in the first half, more half chances. Aaron Lyle linking up well with Owen Moffat. Filip Stuparevich has had a free kick that I don't even know what he was doing, curly toe pretty much. He just volleyed it out of the park. He's had a good chance with a header, straight down the middle, but again, a draw was probably a fair result. But one game that did stand out for me was the Livingston game against Ayr United. That was pretty much a top of the table clash. Ayr United getting into that game at home, really good home record, but they're without a star man, Anton Dowds. They've got some good players on the side there, United, but Anton Dowds has had a fantastic start to the season. He's injured for the majority of the campaign now. So where do the goals come from? Livingston are very good at frustrating teams. They're always been known as this defensive team. They're just really good at defending. They hit Ayr United really well. Robbie Muirhead scores an absolute stunning goal. You see it time and time again from the big man. He done it at Morton. He was underappreciated at Morton, and he knows how to find the back of the net. And he scored a worldie. There's your goal of the month right away. A goal of the season contender as well. Then they go again. They get another goal. They go 2-0 up. Ayr get back into it, but at 2-1, Ayr had a couple of half chances, but Livingston are Livingston. They know how to shut teams out. They know how to see out games, and it's why they're going to be up there at the top end of the table coming into the season. They went to Falkirk and got a good point, good clean sheet. They've gone to Ayr and they've got 3 points. They're beating the teams that are up there with them. I think Livingston will win the league. When you've got guys like Robbie Muirhead, Yenge, Stevie May, you've got 3 good players up there at the top end of the park that know how to score goals. Defensively they're solid as well. They've got big Ryan McGowan's come in. He's got a lot of experience that he can bring to this level. So yeah, for me, Livingston will go on and win the league. Ayr United, they just need to get back to the basics. They relied on Anton Dowds a bit too much, in my opinion. I might be wrong. I'm not the manager that Scott Brown is, but to me it looked like they relied on him a wee bit too much, and they've lost that focal point up top. George Oakley brings a different style to the game than Anton does. So yeah, as I say, for me, Livingston will go on and win the league. And as for the first game that I spoke about, Morton and Dunfermline, it'll be 2 sides. I think Dunfermline will probably be down in a scrap at the bottom. I think Morton will be about mid-table. But it's a big point for both teams. And talking about big points, we'll move on to the crybabies of the division, Raith Rovers, so I'm sure Callum's got a lot to say about that wonderful refereeing performance at the weekend.
Cheers, Aiden. Yes, I am very much a crybaby due to the fact that I had to watch Raith Rovers at the weekend. A game that saw us dominate Queen's Park and still come away with a draw because seemingly happiness is not allowed. This first half, just from the get-go, was all over. Queen's Park did nothing going forward. Raith were all over them, pretty much camped in the Queen's Park half. Eventually, we get Dylan Easton dancing in the box, gets brought down. Jack Hamilton just smashes a penalty away. It's exactly what you want. Going into half time, and it's granted our only wins this season have been 1-0 penalty wins, but as much as I joked about it on Twitter being, yep, that's it, confirmed, it very much felt like we were going to go on and grab a couple of goals. But then second half starts. Again, we were a bit slower, but again, Queen's Park weren't really doing anything. That was until Liam McLeish gets a ball laid off to him about 25 yards out, and he just takes a pot shot. It's going bottom right. Kev has it covered all day long. Unfortunately, Callum Fordyce is in the way, and it bounces off him, goes into the bottom left, 1-1. And it's just that usual phrase that is said every week on multiple occasions at this point. Fuck's sake, Rovers. And it's like, as the second half goes on, again, it's just all Raith, Queen's Park do nothing. But like the main talking point has got to be the referee again. Just, is the handball rule even a real rule at this point? Because there is a Queen's Park attack where the player's on the edge of the box, controls it with his foot, and it comes up and it bounces off of his hand. Now, if his hand was down by his side, that would be fair enough. But no, like his hand is out, like he's calling for a taxi or something. It's like everyone in the south stand could see it, and it's like the referee's got a good view of it. The boy gets a shot away, it goes over, and then the ref gives a corner and, not a free kick for handball, which is just baffling. But I believe the law around it is if basically it's a case of if he doesn't score, then it's not called, which is just stupid. Like a handball's a handball. And then at the other end, dying minutes of the game, get the ball down the left, and a cross comes in, but it's blocked instantly by Cammy Kerr. But the thing is, Cammy Kerr has slid in, and again, his arm's out, and it hits off his arm, and goes out, and the ref gives a corner, and it's just sort of, what? Just like, what are we meant to do? And then about a minute later, Easton's down the left again, but the ball's going out for a corner, but then Easton touches a Queen's Park player, he falls over, gets called as a foul, which was soft, but then Easton got a booking for that, but then he chucks the ball up in the air and calls the referee a useless C word, which, I mean, he's not wrong. It's like he's out of line, but he's right. And of course, it's like you can't do that. As much as we all do it, we're in the stands, we're allowed to do it. On the pitch, you're not allowed to do it. That's a street red for foul and abusive language, which is not surprising with him because Easton's only had like 9 bookings for the club, and I don't think a single one is for a foul. I think it's for chatting back to referees, so not surprising. It's a 1-0 draw, and it's just, when is it going to end? It's the way that Raith have performed this season at home, especially. It's like you could easily have 15 of 15 from our home games, and instead we've got a loss against Livingston, a draw here, a draw against Accies. It's just and now it's like we play Livingston away at the weekend, and it's just, I don't like going to Livingston anyway, but I've got. It's like I've still got the. I do believe this team is not gonna get relegated. Like, we're nowhere near that. We're definitely not gonna finish in the bottom two. I'm very confident in that. Like, Aki's, Dunfermline, and Airdrie are worse than us. Just simple as that. Those three are going to be the bottom three, the way things are going. But a team that I was thinking was going to have title aspirations, it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. I'll just be happy with playoffs at this point. But yeah, that's just all for me. So I guess it's back to Stu for the intro then.
Thanks very much, Callum. I'm assuming he's meaning outro instead of intro there, but there we have it. That is your Championship podcast. My massive thanks to Callum, Aiden, and Kieran for their roundup on all events Scottish Championship. We will be back this weekend when the football returns, and maybe we'll even have a little European roundup mid-week. Thank you very much for listening. Please like and subscribe wherever you listen or watch this podcast on YouTube. Obviously, the subscriptions are massive, as are comments for the algorithm. And if you listen in podcast format, then any 5-star ratings or any rating if you don't like the podcast, it's still good to hear any feedback and criticism or praise. Everything goes on board and trying to make this podcast bigger and better as we move on, coming towards the end of 2024 for a big 2025. Massive things around the corner as well, so keep your eyes peeled on our Twitter page or any social media page that you can find us on: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter /X, and we will catch you all very, very soon.